Infertility problems have been around for centuries, but it was really in the 60s and 70s that great developments occurred that enabled new technologies to be used for people that were deemed infertile and hopeless up until that time. Now that in vitro process is a situation that occurs naturally in the human body, but in the laboratory, the equipment is such that under a special microscope, you can visualize the egg, you can see a very, very thin glass needle that can suction up a single sperm, and then that sperm is injected directly into the egg. Now those injected eggs are observed after time in the incubator, and when fertilization occurs, the cells begin to divide. And there's a point somewhere between the 4 and 8 cell stage of embryo development that these embryos can then be transferred back to the female. Most of the time today, only 2 embryos are put back into the female. The possibility of multiple births exists with in vitro fertilization when you put more than 1 embryo back. And multiple births still occur in about 30% of all of the cases of IVF.
My husband and I were trying to get pregnant for, I don't know, maybe about a year without being successful. And then we went and met with a fertility doctor and talked about what was going on and what was getting in our way. We did a couple of rounds of stimulating drugs to try and get pregnant, and that also didn't work. And so we ended up doing in vitro. I come from a family of, I have 3 older brothers, all of whom were adopted before I was born. So I sort of grew up thinking that I would probably adopt, especially if I had trouble getting pregnant. But when it came to it, I guess we really wanted to see whether we could have our own biological children, and the process of going through adoption is also very lengthy and tends to be very expensive and very stressful. So when we thought about the financial allocation and the time and stress, we thought that this was a good fit for us to try and do that. When we got into treatment, I got pregnant right away, and then I miscarried. So that was kind of a really sad, hard thing. And then there were complications with that because although I didn't carry the pregnancy, I still had, my body didn't totally purge the pregnancy either, so then I had to have surgery, and that was, crappy. But then when I got pregnant with these guys, so Boris and I are in the doctor's office, and the doctor says, well, it's a good thing you're lying down, because there are 3 of them. What? They had been very clear, despite what you hear on the news, that their goal is for a single birth because it's much safer for the baby and much safer for the mother if there's only 1 child. So they wanted us to reduce. So, meaning basically to abort one of the kids. So we went and met with somebody who, that's what they do, and they talked to us about all of the risks to the pregnancy, to me, to the babies, that we could all die, basically, is the long and short of it, if we tried to carry all 3 of them. Anyway, we left there and decided that we would just to see what happened. That we would try and carry forward all three fetuses, and they had also said to us, oh, you know, probably one of these is going to just naturally not go forward. And there was one who turned out to be Lucy, who was the smallest with the most irregular heartbeat from the beginning. So they had told us, you know, oh, she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it. Then we ended up in a specialty practice because I had triplets and I was also 39 at the time, so advanced maternal age, so high risk factors for pregnancy. And Lucy started having heart rate drifts, meaning her heart would slow down, which seemed like it was happening because she was just getting so mushed. There just was not enough room there. So at 34 weeks, we went in for one of the heart rate monitoring sessions, and they said to us, well, you want to have a baby today? Or 3, as the case may be. We said, okay, because they said Lucy could die if we didn't do it, and so we did. And as it turned out, they were in the NICU Lucy was in the NICU or the intensive care nursery for 6 weeks, and the boys were in for 2. Yeah, you have to get over 5 pounds to go home, and to also, Lucy kept having heart rate drifts. So we ended up doing a 2 procedure package, which was, I think, $12,000. And whether you actually need both procedures or not, that's how much it is. So if you are successful in the first time, it's still $12,000. Yeah. So the hospitalization for my, so I had a C-section, and that was covered with a copay of $400 a day for it's certainly expensive to do IVF. It's expensive to have kids. And kids are expensive.
This technology has really been remarkable for women that have blocked or destroyed fallopian tubes, and for men that have no sperm.
As the age of marriage rises, so does the age of the mother at initial childbirth. This trend illustrates the growing need for IVF.
The techniques for in vitro fertilization have advanced very far, but where the new science is headed has to do with the use of stem cells. Well, by the use of stem cells, you may be able to create sperm and eggs. So even if there's no sperm, no eggs whatsoever, you could take a fat cell from a man or a woman, find stem cells, and with the proper promoters, lead them in the direction to develop into a sperm or an egg. That's a lot of science, a lot of biochemistry, but it's happening. So, you know, where is this all going to go? To Mars. Who knows?